ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Lonnie Bennett, and this is Real Talk Podcast. I have with me today my infamous partner in crime, Doug E. Fresh. Doug Woods, how you doing, Mr. Doug?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, good, man. And we have with us today an interesting young man. And, man, we'd like to thank you for inviting us in to your lovely aboard. Everything looks real nice. Without further ado, we're going to let you talk and tell us your story because you know your story better than we know our story. First of all, I'd like to start off by saying, who is Mr. Paladino?
Man, I'm nobody special, to tell you the truth. I'm Joey Paladino. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, right around Gastonia. Basically, it's this town basically south of Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And if you could picture the scene in Lion King where Simba and Mufasa are sitting on the mountain and they're looking down on the town, and they're like that dark place down there, that's Gastonia. Never go there, right? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what that place is. So it was a small town. When I was growing up, I grew up kind of rough. I didn't have a lot of money coming up and stuff like that, and I come up really rough, like from like nothing to fame. So my grandmother basically raised me and my mother. She was in and out of prison and stuff like that. So it was a rough childhood coming up. So going through high school, I played sports, but I never had a dad. I never had anybody to mentor me or do anything like that. So coming up, I went to a pretty rough high school. It's called Hunter House. I don't know if it's improved since then. It's probably been about 40 years. So, I don't know if it's improved since then. But they were good at football. I played football coming up, and I wrestled. I was a wrestler, and I did like the conventional weightlifting, like in the gym, back and buys, chest and tries stuff, all the way coming up through high school. And then I got to my senior year. I was kind of having a struggle as a kid, and then I decided, hey, a recruiter was talking to our class, our English class, and I slept through the whole speech. I woke up, and everybody knew me. I woke up from my nap, and it was like, well, who's ready to join the Army? And I was like, sign me up. I'm getting out of here. We're gone. And the whole class kind of turned around and was like, what? Like, yeah, man, I'm out of here. We're going. So I joined the National Guard first. I actually did it part-time, and I realized really quick that, like, hey, I don't want to do this. This is something I don't want to do part-time. I want to be a full-time soldier. So around 1999, I went into active service, went back to boot camp. I went back to get reclassed in my new job. I was going to be a combat engineer, which was dealing with explosives and doing that kind of stuff. And then I went all in. I said, hey, send me to airborne school. I didn't even know what a Ranger or Special Forces or none of that crap was. I was just like, hey, man, I really want to be just in the Army. So went to the Army. Of course, September 11th happened. Knew we were going to war. So my first combat tour was 2003. I was in the 82nd as I was a specialist getting ready to be promoted to corporal. But I went to Afghanistan in the early days of the war. So I fought in one of the worst ones. Crazy trip. Came back home. Stayed home for 3 months. Went right back to Iraq and did the invasion of Iraq. And so I drove up from Kuwait to the top of the Green Zone, and then we kind of cleared down. I only did 3 months there for that one. That wasn't the same. We did the invasion and stuff. It was pretty gnarly. And then came back home, went back to Iraq, did a 9-month tour, come back home. And by this time, I'm gaining rank in the military and stuff like that. So I went to a specialty school for engineers, like there's Ranger School for infantry, where there was a sapper school. So that was the first time I really did something tough.
What is sapper?
So basically, it's the Rangers of the engineers. So basically, it was a really tough school, like Ranger School, but you get a tab for it. It's basically teaching you how to use demolitions and patrolling and all this advanced demolition stuff. So I kind of did that, and then I said, hey, I can probably do some of this cool stuff that I think I can't do, but I think I can do it. And then I had one of my privates go to selection for Special Forces, and he made it. And I said, I can do it too. And he's like, you can do it too, man. You're one of the best leaders I know. You can do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I put in a packet to go to Special Forces selection, and I had a deployment, and we did another deployment. So I went on a 12-month deployment. Actually, during that deployment, which was a really rough deployment, we were working with like Tier 1 units like Delta Force and stuff like that. we had a really rough time. I lost a few people along the way on that trip, and I came home early to go to selection, to be selected for Special Forces. So made it through selection, really tough. 1 month, the worst stuff you could possibly imagine, right? But that only makes you a candidate to be a Special Forces soldier to enter the year-long school. So I passed it, of course, and like that following summer, I started the Special Forces, basically Q course. And that's basically where you go through, basically the Ranger School for Special Forces. You go to SEER, which is survival, escape, invade. You get beat up a little bit during SEER. Then you do your job training, which I was an engineer in the Special Forces unit, so I was like a same job I was doing, but a little bit more added when we go to a team. And then I learned Spanish. I speak Spanish fluently. As we just went to Ecuador with the Pan Am team, I was mostly a translator. Even though I'm a white boy, I speak really good for a gringo. So yeah. So I get through language school, and then I get through the final phase, which is Robin Sage. I actually got through teaching that that was my last duty assignment. I taught that course. It's basically a culmination of all the stuff you learned in the Q course, and basically that's where you get your Green Beret after that. So I got a Green Beret, and I reported to 7th Group. 7th Group was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina back then, or Fort Liberty now. So basically, got my Green Beret, went to 7th Group. They said, hey, great job passing the Q course, going back to combat. They're in combat right now, so go down here and report to these guys, and you're going right back to Afghanistan. So basically, I left Iraq, went through the Q course, went to Afghanistan. Showed up in Afghanistan. There was a sergeant major. He's an old salty Spanish guy. He looked at me. There was 3 of us. He looked at the first guy and he goes, hey, I'm sending you to Alpha Company. They get in a firefight once a month. He looked at the other guy and he goes, I'm sending you to Bravo Company. They get into, no, it's actually Charlie Company. They get into a firefight once a week. He looks at me and he goes, you're more experienced. I'm sending you to Bravo Company. They get into a firefight every single day. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Put your big boy pants on, let's go. So yeah, I reported to Bravo Company, and I was in a Hellman at that time, and the Hellman was a really big hot spot. This is like 2006, 2007. As a matter of fact, the day I showed up, 3 dudes I graduated with died like that. Wow. So I was like, whoa, okay, this is really serious. I did a 7-month deployment, came home, went to Argentina, did a bunch of South American deployments, and then right back to Afghanistan, where I was. This time I'd gotten some more rank because I'd done a lot of stuff, and then I was in charge of everything in Afghanistan for special activities, which, that can get kind of complicated talking about. But I did that for 7 months, and then I came back home, and by then, my team I was getting up in rank. I came off the team a little bit, and they told me I could be a team sergeant. So I was a team sergeant for team 7134 was my team. I was their leader. We did in 2019. Underneath President Trump, we went to Afghanistan, and we were in the north, and we were able to basically go ham. It was the Wild Wild West, like the early days of the war, and it was one of the roughest deployments I've ever been through. I lost 3 guys of my own, and then I came back home after that one. It was a really successful deployment, and I basically focused everything I had. Now, during all that time when I was doing all those deployments, I stood up a gym. Set up a gym here in 2013. The same day my son was born, we opened CrossFit Patriot Pride, which used to be across from Lowe's on Highway 90. Remember where that is? Right there. There's a Delta Life Fitness there. That was our very first location right there.
Are you over there by Tunnel Road? Is that where
well, that is where I am now. Where I was before was right here by Lowe's off of Bell Lane. There's a school there. Max Fit Nutrition was there back in the day.
It's to the right across the street where the lumber company is.
Yeah, right there. Pittman's Lumber's right there. Lumber. Yeah. So we opened that gym in 2013, and I was active duty, coaching classes, running the gym, and doing all that while I was deploying and doing left and right and all this stuff. So once everything kind of calmed down, I hired a general manager, and that's when my daughter got into weightlifting. I know you want to talk about her a pretty good bit, but she was 9 years old when she picked up her first barbell and said we took her to her first national championships was in Texas, Austin, Texas. We drove to Texas. She placed like 8. She placed like 8 in that very first one, and mind you, I'm still deploying and I'm still doing everything. And we stood up our team, and basically people ran my gym for me. And my wife at the time, when we stood at the gym, I'd had a bonus, and I was like, hey, there's nowhere to work out inside of Pace and Milton, right? There's nowhere to do CrossFit. CrossFit's a little different. You know, I can't be slamming weights. I was working at Head to Toe Fitness, which is now a school. It's like beside Lead Academy there on Berry Hill.
Very good.
Yeah, I was working out in there, and the owner of the gym was just like, hey, you can't be slamming weights in here. Like, you can't, like, and I was like, honey, we got to open up a CrossFit gym. I can't work out anywhere else. And my wife was pregnant. She's like, you're not opening a gym. You're not starting a business, you know. My son, who is 11 now, I just took him to school. But this is when he was being born. And the day, I told her anyway, I said, I'm going to do it anyway. So the day my son was born, the doors of 3P opened. I didn't even coach the first class. It was a young girl from Milton. Her name was Emma Hatton. She was my first coach, and she opened the doors to the gym. And man, it's been a wild ride to get here. I ended up doing my time in the Army, and I've now retired. I've been retired for a year and a half. I retired with 1 day shy of 29 years in the military. So that was really good. It set me up to kind of do this. And then 2 years ago, I was approached by the owner of this gym to say, hey, they were coming out of the gym business, and they asked me if I'd like to buy it. So I bought this gym, and we now have 2 locations, one in Pace and one in Milton. And we're trucking along. And we have all kinds of programs. Over there, we feed a lot of the youth programs, so we have a very big teen presence. A lot of teen classes and a lot of kid classes, and over here we focus more on CrossFit, and then the barbell's pretty big over here.
So you yourself are a state champion, right?
I did. I won the state championship last year. That's not no bragging rights. Some old man slinging some weights around.
Any old man that can lift weights, I
did it. I won the state championship last year for Florida. FHSAA is a lot different than what USAW is. USAW is the governing body for weightlifting. Basically, that's Team USA. That's everything you see for the Olympics. They used to be, back in the day, probably about 5 years ago, there was an Olympic Training Center. There still is an Olympic Training Center, but for weightlifting. It was just straight up like if you made the team, which is basically there's a cut line and a list that's released every year. It's called the quad. And they have these cut lines, and they put these names on a sheet. If you're on that sheet, you basically were a resident at the OTC, which was the Olympic Training Center. So they would go there and live, go to school, do everything they were supposed to do, right? But they would be underneath one coach, and the coach was named Zygmunt. But right now, the head Team USA coach is Mike Gatone. So he was this guy after him, and they would basically just train. That was their life and their job. They would move to Colorado and just train. But they disbanded that about 5 years ago when they thought they were going to take weightlifting out of the Olympics, because that was a controversy. And once they disbanded it, they put the power on the personal coaches. So the personal coaches get the whoever it is ready, and then they go to the Olympics with the Team USA coach, Mike Gatone, and then the personal coach too. So that's new. So like whenever we went to Ecuador with Bryson and Izzy's from Navarre. They both made Team USA, and we just went on the Ecuador trip for Pan Ams. There was a Team USA coach representative, and then there was me. So, so we were there. And then also Nick Priestley, he just now moved barbell teams. He's actually an employee for us now. He coached Ireland Maynard, which is a pace lifter at Pan Ams.
Okay, so to recap, I was trying to keep up with your deployment, man. First of all, thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah, sir.
Man, I really appreciate that, because
a lot of time.
Yeah, you don't have to thank me. I loved what I did, man.
Yeah, but we do. We do have to thank you. I think I lost count of five different deployments, but I know there was more than that. But that's so impressive.
Did you say 9?
9 total. Yes,
9 total. Yeah, you lost me at 5. But I guess what I want to ask is, most people may not know what actually is CrossFit. What actually is CrossFit? I know
CrossFit, very simple definition. I'll explain it and break it down pretty layman's terms. It's high intensity functional movements done over broad time. So basically, what CrossFit is basically we're going to work out, and we're going to do our intensity for maybe 30, 20 minutes, and then we're going to do that every day in a sustainable rate that makes us healthier for life. So basically what happens is people come in, like you'll see the class coming in here shortly, probably hear them on the podcast in the background, opening the door. But they're going to come in. There's a coach there. She's going to brief them, tell them what they're going to do for the day, and it usually consists of some kind of lifting, no matter what your age is. I have, like, the oldest I have is 75. The youngest I have is, like, maybe 9.
See, I could still go here.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Basically, it's scalable. So the actual workout, say if we do back squats, if somebody had limited range of motion or something, they back squat to a box or something like that. But we're going to build strength, help you fight osteoporosis, right? Because we want to stay
You do a lot of core strength.
Yeah, core strength, stuff like that. But they do like a strength part where we're working on something, and then we'll do like an actual workout where you're going to kind of get your heart rate up and moving. So it might be like 10 kettlebell swings, 5 air squats, do some pull-ups, 5 pull-ups or something. You do that for like 10 minutes, and then once you do that, they cool you down, make sure you're taken care of and everything. So that's kind of like how the workouts work. You'll see them out here kind of moving around here in a little bit. But we warm them up, we get them through the point. It's all coached with a personal coach. Classes can be about 21 to 2 people, and then that's it. And that kind of paved the way. So back in the day, when USAW was around, they didn't get a great following because nobody knew about it. I didn't know what snatch and clean and jerk was. I was like, what's this stuff, It wasn't until I started doing CrossFit that I figured out what snatch and clean and jerk was. But USAW was kind of in a bad way. It really wasn't being paid to it. It's like curling in the Olympics, it's like nobody paid attention to weightlifting. But then people started doing CrossFit somewhere around. I had my first level 1 in 2007. Yeah, 2007. I think around the 2000s when it started getting on the scene and stuff. And it was Coach Greg Glassman. He was the founder of CrossFit. He wanted a way. He was doing gymnastics. He was like on the men's gymnastics team, and he wanted a way to go from pommel horse to bars and not be winded.
Pommel horse?
That's that little thing, where it's like it looks like it's got 2 handles.
2 handles under the neck.
They kind of swing around it. You know what I'm saying? The pommel horse.
We avoid them.
Yeah. So pommel horse to bars, and they wanted a way to be conditioned to make that transition. So he created a workout plan, basically, of high intensity, so he would be conditioned to do that. And basically what he said he did is create this workout called FRAMS, 21-15-9 thrusters, which is taking a barbell from a front squat to overhead in one motion. So doing that nonstop, and it's pull-ups. 21-15-9 as fast as you can go. Basically, he did it, threw up, he ran to his friend. He's like, you got to do this, man. This is an amazing workout. His friend did it, he threw up. They went to the next friend and said, hey, you got to do this workout. So that's kind of how it went. Now, we came a long way since that.
Right.
But basically, it took the weightlifting part, which is snatch and clean and jerk, and made it forefront of the sport. So it's like the magical sport. So this ignited fire inside of USAW, and everybody was like, what is USAW? Why are people doing snatch and clean and jerk, and what's Olympic lifting about? So now it's in the forefront of everybody's mind, and now USAW's memberships went up. Everything went up just because of CrossFit, and that's what we did.
Well, I have a question for you.
What's up?
You have a lot of success at the high school level. What is it that you are now? Because I know when you were at Pace, helping their team, they won the state championship. Your daughter won the national championship and the state championship, I think multiple times, if I remember right.
Yeah.
You go over there, and Coach Busby gets you to come in on his team. I think you told me you started out with Blaine.
Yeah.
And anyway, you start there, and then Coach Busby sees what you're doing all of a sudden. He sees the benefit. He brings you on board, and now, last year, you have 3 silvers, 3 golds, and y'all take second place, barely beat by Pace.
Yeah.
But you've been at 2 programs that I've been watching. What is it that what are you bringing at these kids that they're getting so much success from?
Well, first off, I never coached at Pace.
Well, I thought you did.
No.
Just have a daughter.
Absolutely not.
Sorry, folks. He's okay.
My daughter lifted for Pace.
Kind of like not coaching at Florida Gators.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. No, but I never coached at Pace. I never take credit for any of that program.
I thought you did.
That was their success all along. My daughter was just a part of the team. But she was a really good part of the team, thank God. But so when Kyla started at 9 years old, she was competing already. And I think Coach Wise tells the story all the time about Kyla. But basically, when his first year, was Kyla's first year, and he was like, had a room full of girls, and he was like, can somebody show me a clean and jerk? And of course, thinking none of these girls would know what a clean and jerk is, or give a thing. My daughter raised her hand and said, "Yeah, sure." And then she got out there and was like, boom, perfect clean, perfect jerk. Because she's been lifting at that point for like 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So she smashes it, and he's like, "Oh my God! Like, who is this kid? Like, where did she come from?" I was like, "Yeah, we've been training for a long time, so like doing things." And once she got into the program, she was just smashing it. And that's the story he's told there. She was the first snatch champion. She was the first snatch champion for pace, and then she was the first state champion for pace, and then she's a 4-time national champion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. When did you know that once you retired that this is what you were going to do? When did it really? I mean, I know you said you like to work out, and you defied your wife. And,
I know. I'm a very religious person too.
Right.
I feel like God's always had a special place for me. He saved me so many times. Like, there's been so many close calls, so like too much to kind of like understand, and that makes me believe in God even more. But I believe He put a special place in me to do this, to help people, because my number one core value is help first. So I help everybody I come in contact, no matter who it is. I don't care. You come up to me, you got a problem, I'm going to help you. So that's one thing that led me to be that I need to be in this gym, because I need to help people. I need to help people live a longer life. I need to help people be fit. I need to help these kids that don't have a way, just like when I grew up, because I grew up rough too. I didn't have a dad or anything. I need to help mentor these kids and get them to where they need to be. I knew that before I even retired. Now, when I retired, it freed up so much more space in my life to focus on that. And I knew I wanted to be involved with a high school program. God just didn't put before me, like, hey, you need to be here. It was just chance that Buzz hit me up, because, I was coaching over there, and I was helping kids, and they're feeding that program, and they were turning into a monster. And then Buzz hit me up, and I was helping one of his kids, and he seen the improvement in Blaine so much that he was just like, okay, I need to talk to him. And Buzz will tell the story.
Blaine Padgett?
Yeah, Blaine Padgett. Yeah. So Buzz will tell the story when I first started coaching Blaine. Like they don't like outside coaching. He tells the story even at the banquet and stuff. He's like, I didn't know who Joey was, and Joey's telling one of my lifters what to do and stuff like that, and I thought it was Defiance. I think he got on the bus and was like, nobody listens to a personal coach over me. You know what I'm saying?
He's a papa bear.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't either. I would be kind of intimidated too. And to Buzz's defense, like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're doing and telling my kids. So why would I want them going to you? I want them to listen to me, And Buzz had texted me after the season, and he had Bryson, and Bryson is good. Bryson's amazing athlete. And he was like, hey, I got a kid. I think he'd be really good at weightlifting. Can you coach him? He wants to go to nationals. I'm like, heck yeah, send him over. So I worked with Bryson for like maybe 8 weeks to get him ready for nationals. And once he was ready for nationals, we went to nationals, and Bryson won a silver medal. Right there. He went against a Team USA kid. He was second, won that medal, and like a spark was in Bryson's eyes. Like, okay, I want to do this. And I'm like, let's go, let's get it. And soon after, he sent me Dana Tolson. And, Dana came, and she needed help and stuff, and I helped her, and I love Dana and Tina, her mom. They're the most amazing people in the world. So, we got Dana into nationals last year. She won a bronze and a silver in the snatch, a bronze in the clean and jerk, and then a bronze overall. So, or silver overall. And she's an outstanding athlete. So that year, whenever weightlifting was going to start, I knew Buzz needed help. I knew Marcus and Buzz needed help. So I just messaged them and I was like, hey, have you started your like GoFundMe yet or vertical raise or whatever yet? Because I wanted them to start generating money. And I also asked them, I was like, hey, would you possibly like have me as a team manager like for the year? Like I just want to be involved. I just want to help out. And Buzz was like, yeah, sure, man. Like I was sending him some good ideas and stuff. And then he said what clicked for him was he came to a weightlifting meet here. And I was like, I've been in charge a lot. I've done a lot of things, and I have a tendency like to outrun the headlights. But I looked at Buzz and I looked at Green, and I was like, hey man, if I'm ever doing too much, man, just tell me to stop. Okay, just tell me to stop, man, because like I get so amped up and fired up about everything. I'll just start running. I'm kind of like a missile, man. You shoot me out there and tell me to destroy something, and I'm just going to go until I destroy it. And then I'm going to come back and be like, yo, what else you need me to do? You know?
I tell the head coach the same thing. If I'm saying something that you disagree, I said, let me know. I said, I don't know unless you let me know.
Yeah. That's right. So, and I'm, you know, Buzz brought me into the program, and he started listening to me, and then he got his own certification. He's a USAW level 1. He's a level 2 now. He just completed his level 2.
I saw that.
Yeah, got it here. We taught it right here. And he's advancing his education, and he's learning like what happens. What's the biggest fault? And I tell them this all the time in high school is we've done it one way. Like we've stood on the backs of others so much, and we think that's what's the word is gold. You know what I'm saying? And we do it this way because they did it that way, and we keep doing it that way. But I'm like, what if there's a better way? And they listen to me. They're like, okay, there may be a better way to this weightlifting to not do 15 meets in a season and max out every week and just kill the kids. You notice we're only doing 5 meets this year, you know, and I think it's going to work out good for us. I think we're going to see a good result at state because last year, the biggest mistake I made last year was, because it was my first year programming for like a high school, the biggest mistake I made last year is we peaked at the Navarro Invitational. Like all the girls were hitting their heaviest lifts at the Navarro Invitational. If you know anything about kinesiology or about central nervous systems and the way they work, once you peak really big, you kind of go down. So when we hit like regionals, districts, and state, we were kind of going down. So this year, I looked at it and I set it up so we will peak at districts to give the girls the best chance to make it past districts, right? Get past districts because that's like a knockout. Like you don't go anymore if you don't pass districts. And then regional, same way. If you don't make that 20, like top 20, you don't go. And then the top 20 of the state go to state. So basically, the point is to get as many of the girls to that point where they're getting past districts and getting to regionals. Now, this year, as it looks, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Things could happen and shake up, and girls could get stronger. But right now, we do know our 2 front runners are Cheyenne, our heavyweight, our unlimited, and then Dana, of course. She's a favorite for it. So those are our 2 favorites right now. The rest of them, we get to see how it shakes out, how strong they can get this season. But we are working really hard. I promise you that. We're putting in the work, and for the girls that show up and do things, you know.
But what you can promise these kids, if they come into your program, they are going to get stronger.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had crazy results.
I like what you said, too, about trying something different.
Yes.
You know, and that was based on you analyzing what took place last year, and you utilize your professional opinion.
That's Lonnie's philosophy right there.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, change is good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know,
and it can't be done the same way. Like, do we stand on the backs of those that came before us?
It does sound like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like me personally, when I program and when I design programs, I'm not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
I'm doing stuff that the Russians did, the Bulgarians did. I'm just standing on their back. There's great coaches in America, too. Like, I look at their programming and look at their stuff, and I'm like, we can take traits from it. Like, programming is easy, so I just write a workout. What really makes it is 2 things. The kid's effort, are they 100%? Are they going to come in here and give me everything they got? And then the other thing is what level of mentorship and coaching am I giving?
So on a scale of 1 to 10, buy-in, the kids that you deal with in high school, what would you put their buy-in at for you? That's my toughest question.
It is. It's a tough question. You know, Girls,
realistically, what do you
well, the
think?
girls and boys are totally this. These are two different animals, right?
I've been told that.
Coaching girls is totally different. So our girls, right? They may not have the best days every day, and the biggest hurdle I deal with coaching girls is the fact that they beat themselves up so bad that they just push themselves down. And I always tell the girls, like, hey, the biggest hurdle you have is yourself. It's not the weight. It's not the lifting. It's you. So that's big. Whereas boys, they'll just send it. They'll just go out there and they'll just like throw it over their head, no fear, like stuff like that. And that's amazing, right? But the girls, I have a tough time. And then a lot of it is the girls that don't think they can do it. Like there's probably so much talent we don't have on the team. We don't even have every weight class filled on the team right now because girls just don't want to do it. They just don't believe in themselves or they don't think they can do it. And then another thing is weightlifting's hard, guys. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's really hard. It's like tough. It's a tough sport. And like, yes, I'm being nice and gentle right here, but my coaching style is a little different.
Intense.
It can be intense, I've been told.
A little warrior, maybe?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I'm not too scared to let people know exactly how I feel right there at that point. They know that. They kind of get that from me as they get used to me. So it can be a little intimidating weightlifting wise, but I have a great balance. And I have Marcus on one side, he's like the yin to my yang. He's nice and soft, quiet spoken. Buzz too, Buzz is the same, nice soft spoken. But Buzz can get rowdy if he needs to, like really quick. Like in the disciplinary stuff, Buzz handles all that stuff very well, and I love that about him. And we kind of make a little trifecta of goodness, like we all yin
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, yin and yang together. And the biggest thing is we're just having an influence on these kids so much. I mean,
Are you having fun?
Yeah, I have a blast. No matter what I'm doing, I'm having fun. I mean, like I'm strictly a volunteer. I put in some major hours volunteering as far as that goes. So I do it for straight love. That's what I'm doing it for. If I didn't have fun, I wouldn't do it. That's the thing. Now, do I get frustrated? Absolutely get frustrated. But I kind of work through it. You know what I'm saying? I understand what I'm dealing with. I understand what I'm working with situationally. I know you asked that question, like situational awareness, and I wrote about it. I understand the situational awareness of the politics that is the school system on one side, and then the politics that is we want to win a team. And just bringing more light to weightlifting is really what I want to do because I feel like our program could be just as good as Pace's program. Like they have 2 full teams, a JV. They have 3 full teams. They have a JV, an A squad, an expedition team, and a full team. And it's just because they just got so much clout. They've won state. They're going to win it again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Pace is going to win the girls' championship again this year by a pretty good bit. It might be close in some stuff, but I think they're going to blow it out of the water.
So if you could look into the camera, man, and just tell some student out there right now that's on the fence, they can't, they're not performing the way they feel that they can perform. They want to be better in any sport, basketball, baseball, football. I'm pretty sure your CrossFit fits
everything. Yeah,
everything. What would you tell them?
So listen, guys. The first step is taking it outside of what you're comfortable in and getting uncomfortable. Just go get uncomfortable. Do something that's going to be hard to make you disciplined and make you uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be CrossFit. It doesn't have to be weightlifting. It's just these kids today, they're stuck inside norms. They really are. They're stuck inside a norm that says, hey, I have to do this, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. Like if I'm a football player, I have to play rec league all the way up. Well, no, you should play something else. You should play basketball or something like that. Do something that makes you uncomfortable, that makes you think outside the box and apply that back to whatever your main sport is. I think we have a lot of kids who are niche and don't specialize early. So what happens is a lot of kids around this area specialize way too early. And by the time they hit the high school level, they're almost at burnout. They're almost like they've been playing football since they were like 6 years old.
Let me ask you one more question.
What's that?
When you take a kid that was on the fence, like he's talking about, and I'm sure you've worked with quite a few of them, and say after 1, 2, 3 years, what difference do you see in them? Does there change? Do they go way up like this? Do they stay down here?
It depends on what their specialty is, right? So I have kids that come to me who don't weightlift. They just want to get stronger for whatever sport, baseball, football, whatever their sport is. We train kids across the whole county. Like for as far down as Navarre, as far up as Jay. We've even trained. I got kids from Sarasota. The Gamecocks quarterback who just got hurt.
Softball, for instance, if they came here, you would make them stronger?
Yes.
Wow.
I just so happened to have, I'm not going to say her by name, but there was a girl who is a D1 select for a certain school in this area who is worked with me for probably 3 years.
I probably wrote about her last year.
3 years. 3 years.
There's two of them, actually.
Her dad would sit right by her side and make sure she did not do anything to jeopardize her scholarship because she was already committed. And she worked out in the gym, and we worked with her a pretty good bit, and she got stronger and faster. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, like, you can do it. I mean, it just takes the right coach and the right mentor and the right attitude. Having the right attitude is definitely going to take you far, especially in sports.
So you're a seed planter. You put it in their brain, and
I don't
get it going. And
I guess you could say I'm a seed planter.
You got to do something if you're going to take them from point A to point D.
I think the biggest thing, the hardest thing to overcome is not lifting weights. It's not lifting weights. It's the battle they have within.
I agree with that 100%.
If they can beat themselves, and then they can do anything. So then the ways they beat themselves, you can take and do positive affirmations, which they don't get a lot of. Like, yes, I'm a hard coach. I'm going to tell you exactly what you did wrong. If you're doing a jerk, you put the bar too far out, you had lazy elbows, you pressed out. I'm going to say all that, but I'm going to say it in a way that's positively affirmated to give you a cue so you know what to do, right?
Yes.
So, like, whenever we're doing this stuff and being there, I can cue in a positive way so they build confidence.
Gotcha.
So that's it. But sometimes, trust me, if you make the same correction, you don't make the correction and apply it, I'm going to get on you, and that's when I'm going to kind of get that negative connotation in my voice and be like, hey, I gotta reinforce it. Good, like you're doing this, we need to do this. You got me. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest defeat for the kids today.
Now, Joey, with all your success, there was one time. Well, we consider it successful, man. What moment that you can share with us? There had to be a moment. There's probably a time where you was like, man, I don't know about this. They're not getting it, or a disappointing time in your training.
Man. I have. So I don't think on a big level I have those, like on a grand level, because I can always shift it to somewhere else and be like, hey, that. But I do have small disappointments, if you would say. Sometimes I just don't feel like everybody's behind us enough. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not enough recognition for the sport. Or sometimes I feel like weightlifting is a B-rated sport. You guys understand that?
Absolutely.
Like it's underrated, and I feel like it takes clout away from the programs. You know what I'm saying? Not to take anything away from any football stuff or any baseball or basketball stuff, but those are your main sports, and everybody treats us like we're kind of a supporting sport. Does that make sense?
Right.
Something like that. So whenever we're doing the sport and these kids are pouring their life and heart into it, and this is their sport, like I don't know how many kids who are just weightlifters. They don't want to do any other sport. And I feel like, a lot of them are just like not highlighted because they're just weightlifters.
What you offer, hey man, let's get this thing going. I believe in what you're doing. I believe, being an ex-athlete myself, I know how, training is very, very is key.
Yeah.
So just let everybody know where you're located, how they can get in touch with you, and how they can get involved, man. We're going to help you. We're going to push this thing because I think what you're doing is making a difference. Okay?
So we have 2 locations. Our first location in Pace is off of 5 Points. If you're familiar with Pace, everybody knows where 5 Points is. It's basically right up Quintet Road from 5 Points. Nice big building behind, like apartments are behind it, but there's like right there. It's 6812, not 6812, but 5832 Quintet Road, and right there you can hit us on Instagram. You can look up 3P Fitness on Instagram, or you can look up 3P Weightlifting on Instagram, or our location that we're at right now, which is SRC Fit. It's the Milton location. It is off of Commerce Road, off of Avalon, and we're right there. You can find us on Google Maps or anything like that. It comes up pretty easy.
It's in the industrial park.
In the industrial park. SRC Fit, that's all you got to type in. You can go to either website, also our Instagram as well. We have a lot of traffic come in from the Instagram. We just redid our websites for these two gyms and the weightlifting team, so they look really pretty online. I wanted to make sure I had that nice pretty presence, because the gyms are pretty. If you can't see, they're pretty. Then we've done a really good job having a welcoming community and welcoming nice clean facility and stuff like that for everybody to work out in. So yeah, that's our two locations and our programs that we offer. We offer CrossFit classes unlimited, so you can come as much as you want to inside of a month, and basically start around 130 to 160, and you have a personal coach who coaches you through the class. It's basically an hour of fitness, warm up, cool down, workout type thing.
I noticed that you have toys in there.
Yes, we do.
For adults, or
No, we have childcare. We have childcare at both locations at set times when the moms come in and stuff like that. We usually have a childcare attendant in this room, but we don't have any kids this morning. But in the evening we
that's
do
pretty
have the
important
kids.
to a lot of the moms. So
It
I think that's gonna be good.
definitely is. And then at the other location we have a childcare room too. Now notice it's not like we don't look at your kids like. We just have a supervised kids area where people, like if they're changing diapers or something, we go get mom, like, hey, you can see your kids through the window, like come change his diaper and stuff like that. But it's something that other places don't have that kind of gives us a little edge too. And then we also offer at both locations teens and youth training. So we have either personal coaching for youth and teens, or we have a group program. Especially at the other one. It's not really developed here a lot. We've been trying to develop it over the years, but can't quite get the following we need. But at the Pace location, it is a monster. It produces a lot of athletes too. It has our teens program. We basically grab them in middle school.
We may have to shut that PACE program down.
y'all are funny.
We are, man.
Y'all are so funny. The Pace location does produce a lot of athletes. And we get really close to the kids. They're like our kids. And then they graduate, they go into the adult program, or they go into the weightlifting program. And it's really, really awesome. We also have adult classes. Over there, we offer a master's class. Our master's class is in the mornings, it's like 10:30 to 11:30. And it's taught by a certified, well, she's retired now, but she used to work for Exos and Andrews Institute. And then it's taught by our other kids coach, who's super knowledgeable. She's been with me for almost 13 years. Wow. Her name's Micah Blackwell. You should know the Blackwells from Milton history. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, she actually knows a lot about this area, and she's a great coach. And those two coach our master's program, where we have like people just getting into CrossFit, and they're like people who just had babies and stuff like that. And we also have like our 75-year-olds and people who have had triple bypasses and people who have had heart attacks. They're all in that class just trying to be better so they don't go back to the hospital. Because our goal is to keep everybody standing and engaging with their kids the rest of their life.
That's good, man. I tell you what, it's been real, man. Man, thank you for being on the show. But I have to ask this before we go.
What's that?
I got to ask this. Man, you are a genius. How did you come up with this awesome logo with this gator? I mean, man,
this is for
I
your,
couldn't.
this is for your
Do you have any T-shirts with that on them? Man, I'd like to purchase one. That gator just stands out, bro. Could you rush?
I'll tell you how I got this jacket.
No, so one of the coaches drew that. We wanted to be fit for the masses, fit for everybody. But the gator just made a statement, and yeah, we do have some shirts over there. I grabbed you one.
And the gator, and he drew that.
She did. She's actually out there coaching. You'll see her. She's blonde-headed.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she drew that and threw it on the shirt.
Hey, I'd like to have one of those gators on the wall at Visible Change Barbershop, which I'm the owner, located at 6526 Caroline Street in Milton, Florida. Hey, Coach, Hey, man, it's been great.
Yes, sir.
Hey, let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm down anytime. I got
That was-
plenty of stories. I'll tell you that right
That was
now.
interesting.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And this has been Real Talk.
Yeah, you know, it's the falls. You know, come from East Middle with it. You know, get up, get your coffee, you know what I'm saying? Come sit down, come have a nice conversation. See where we can go. It's real talk. You say you love her, I know. My people struggle, I know. We need to huddle, I know. Not kill each other, real talk. No, I ain't stutter, I know. Don't need rebuttal, I know. It's way too gutter, I know. The youth in trouble, real talk. You say you love her, I know. My people struggle, I know. We need to huddle, I know. Not kill each other, real talk. No, I ain't stutter, I know. Don't need rebuttal, I know. It's way too gutter, I know. The youth in trouble, real talk. The sun shine down on me daily, showing the blessings the Father gave me. You know I won't dim it so you can see what I mean. And yeah, you might call me crazy just cause you cannot persuade me to hate someone because we not on the same team. Respect they owe when they pay it, it's cause through all of the many phases I never change a letter, put pain in between. A heart of gold but no payment, whatever happens to demonstrating abandonment of loving me knowing I'm king. You say you love her, I know. My people struggle, I know. We need to huddle, I know. Not kill each other, real talk. No, I ain't stutter, I know. Don't need rebuttal, I know. It's way too gutter, I know. The youth in trouble, real talk. You say you love her, I know. My people struggle, I know. We need to huddle, I know. Not kill each other, real talk. No, I ain't stutter, I know. Don't need rebuttal, I know. It's way too gutter, I know. The youth in trouble, real talk.